As you step into leadership, it feels like you're supposed to do everything at once. You need to motivate your team and manage deadlines and hit goals and solve conflicts and bring on the right people and offboard the wrong people and develop all the people all at the same time. And I want to give you this thought, and here is the solid truth. Leaders who win don't win by doing everything. They win by doing the right things consistently. And that's where the rule of five comes in. The rule of five is not originated with me. It's actually something that I've learned from Maxwell. I've heard it, different variations of it several times. And there's a little thing John Maxwell talks about, the five things that he does every single day consistently. He reads, he files, he thinks, he asks questions, and he writes. Those are the five things that John Maxwell does every day. And by the way, he does those every day, on holidays, on birthdays. That's an everyday thing for him. That's his rule of five. And you're like, man, what does the rule of five, what does that even mean? Here's the concept. And I challenge you, give this to the people that you're developing. Help them find their five things. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But what is the rule of five? I want you to imagine that you have a tree in your backyard that you're required to chop down. You have to get it chopped down. And I want to give you the concept that if you were to go out and grab an axe and once a day walk out and take 5 swings every single day, 5 swings with an axe at that tree, it really doesn't matter how big that tree is, eventually that tree is going to fall. And so you're like, well, what does that have to do with me? I'm not a logger. It means that if you've got a big, hairy, audacious goal, something that you're trying to achieve, maybe it's a dream, maybe it's a side hustle, maybe it's just developing yourself personally. If you can really focus on an individual tree, what is the goal? Make it real clear of the tree you're supposed to chop down, right? And you grab the right tool, and it's an axe. I'd recommend an axe is the right tool. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about a chainsaw. It's 5 swings a day, not 5 chainsaws a day, right? You go out there and take 5 swings a day, eventually that tree is going to come down. The same thing is with your goal. If you can get real clear on what the goal is and real clear on what the tools are that are going to be most useful in accomplishing that goal, eventually you will accomplish that goal. Now, where we get lost in translation here is a lot of people take a lot of swings. We all are busy. We're all trying to accomplish a lot of different things. And sometimes we have exciting goals, and sometimes we've got some career goals, we've got some financial goals, we've got some relationship goals. And so we kind of have all of these trees. And what we end up doing is go out and we take like one swing here and one swing here and one swing here, but we never are consistent in the one tree, and we're not consistent taking the 5 swings because we really don't know what it means to take the 5 swings. The simplicity of the rule of five is that you just take the axe and you go hit the tree 5 times. Now, that's really simple if we were chopping down trees, but we're not. We're developing ourselves, we're developing people, we're pouring into our relationships, we're trying to grow ourselves at home, we're trying to, be successful, whatever that means to you. And so where this gets lost on many of us is we don't clarify what is the main thing. And so I want to just say this. Sometimes the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And while there's a lot of other priorities and there might be a lot of other things that you could be swinging at, there's a couple things you need to pay attention to here. We're going to use this concept here. Abraham Lincoln said this. He said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." And I want to just talk about this. What does it mean to sharpen the axe? What does it mean to know what your axe is? What does it mean to know what your 5 swings are? And what does it mean to actually know what you're swinging at? When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If that's the tool at your disposal, and when you have an axe, everything looks like it needs to be cut down. So the concept is not whether you have a hammer or an axe. The concept is, do you know exactly what your goal is and what it's going to take for you to do consistently every single day for you to win at that goal? Because here's what I've done so many times myself, where I have this goal or this desire, if you would, that I want to accomplish something, I want to do something, I want to write a book, I want to create a YouTube channel, whatever it is. It all comes down to, do you know what it's going to take to do those things, to accomplish those things that are supposedly so important to you, but you don't even know what the 5 swings a day are, the simple things. And so I want to give you this and ask you some questions. You get to decide what the 5 swings are. You get to decide what your tree is, and you get to establish ultimately what are the right tools to cut down the tree. Those aren't for me to decide, that's for you to decide. But I want you to be able to use this in one of 2 ways. One, get real clear on what your goal is, And then also for your team, help them look at their goals, their one thing that they really want to accomplish, that is the burning desire. They need to get this done to move forward in life, and then help them clarify what are the 5 things that they need to do every day. So we think about 5 swings. Well, that's 5 swings. That's 5 times I'm going to swing the axe. And ultimately, it's the same thing. But I want to give you the different perspective of your 5 swings might be 5 different actions. John Maxwell has 5. He reads, he thinks, he asks questions, he files, and he writes. Those are his 5. Now, if you were to go do those things, I'm sure you'd be somewhat successful in what you set out to do. If you read about what you needed to do, and you wrote about what you needed to do, and you filed about what you needed to do, and you asked questions about what you would need to do, right? But the thing is this, we're not John Maxwell. My name is Luke Sorensen, and I have my own list of 5 things that I can do to help me hit my goal, my primary thing that I'm working on. But the things aren't the same. I like to create content. I like to consume content. I like to ponder and have some reflection. I like to ask questions about it and working on number 5. But to me, is I like to take action. Whatever it is, it's going to come down to taking action. And that is the main point of our video today and this subject of the rule of 5. So let's talk about this. If you were to look at it, I've got the acronym TREE, TREE, to help us remember this, right? Number 1 is target the tree. That's your T, is target the tree. Do you know exactly what you're trying to accomplish? You can have a lot of dreams, a lot of things you're working on. You can even have some things that are more important than other things. But if you haven't established what the tree is, you'll end up chopping down a lot of trees and probably knock down some of your neighbor's trees and some of your boss's trees, but you're never going to accomplish knocking down the tree that actually matters to you, the one that needs to go down. So number 1 is target the tree. Get clear on what your main leadership goal is. And a leadership thing, especially as maybe an aspiring or a rookie manager, it might be building trust with your team or hitting a specific metric. It might be a KPI that you have to hit. What is the main thing as a team? And then what is the main thing for your dream? So when you're leading the team, they need to know what their main goal is so that you guys can do as a team. What's the rule of 5? What are those 5 things that your team has to do every single day to be able to accomplish your goals as a team? But individually, everybody on your team, including yourself, should have clarity on what is the primary thing that they're trying to accomplish in their life. And we're going to use the illustration of the tree as something you're going to cut down. Eventually, that tree is going to fall and you're going to consider yourself successfully have accomplished that goal, and then can then go look for your next tree. But most of us aren't real clear on the tree that we're supposed to be chopping down. In fact, a lot of times we're chopping down the other trees that other people have said, this is an important tree to cut down. Do you understand the misnomer here is that if you cut down a lot of trees, but you don't cut down the tree you need to cut down, you're never going to be actually successful for yourself. You might cut down a lot of trees for the company that you work for. And I'm not talking about logging. I'm talking about the illustration of you're going to accomplish somebody else's goal because you're not clear enough on your own. So as you look at this, number 1 is target the tree. Focus, the word focus, the acronym FOCUS. Focus means follow. Focus equals follow one course until successful. Chris Robertson says this all the time. Follow one course in the Maxwell certification process. Take one thing and master it, right? Take one tree and accomplish it, right? So focus equals follow one course until successful. So target the correct tree. Know the tree you're supposed to chop down. For some of you, you want to start a business, but you're never going to actually start the business. You have all the ideas, but you're never going to do it. For some of you, you want to start a YouTube channel, and you just won't do it because you're afraid to press record. And by the way, most likely, if you've thought about starting a YouTube channel, you've probably watched Sean Cannell from Think Media, and you've probably heard, you got to just press record 50,000 times without actually pressing record because of all of the different gap theories of why you're not willing to start, why you're not going to start till you're ready. You need to practice more. You need to have the right equipment. Whatever it is, whatever excuse you've given yourself, until you've gotten real clear on what you're going to do, you're never actually going to do it. And some of you are so afraid to start that you'll never start. Let me just say this. Everybody starts at start. Everybody starts at start. So if you say, well, I just suck at this, that's because you got to practice at it. And the only way to practice it is to do it and actually make it happen. So write down, hey, what is the tree? What is the goal? What is the dream? Because if you know what the dream is, it's going to be a lot of fun to actually figure out what are the 5 things that you're supposed to do to accomplish that dream. And by the way, the 5 things might actually change over time. You might start doing 5 different things and starting a business, but then those things transition into something else to be a part of cutting down that tree. But if you can establish what are the 5 daily disciplines of what it takes for you, you're going to find a whole lot more success because every single day you can go out and take the 5 swings. And the 5 swings might take you an hour. They might take you a couple of minutes. But if you do the 5 things every single day, eventually you'll accomplish that goal, that mission, that dream, whatever it is. Put it to the test. Find your 5 things, get to it. So number one, clarify the target. What is the tree? So TREE. So T is target the tree. Number two is the right tool. TR, right tool. You need to be hitting it with the right tool. If you grab the baseball bat from the garage and you go out and you hit that tree 5 times every day or 100 times every day, that tree is probably never going to fall. It's probably not even going to feel the bat. To be honest, you're going to feel it and you're going to get real strong in the process because you're going to be taking a lot of swings that are not going to accomplish your goal. So if we look at this, right, the right tool matters. Use the right method. Leadership isn't one size fits all. And sometimes the right tool is coaching, sometimes it's accountability, sometimes it's listening. So in a leadership structure, you say, well, I need to be able to do 5 things consistently. You might say, well, 5 things I might need to be coaching, I might need to be mentoring, I might need to be asking questions for accountability, I might need to be having follow-up, right? I don't know what your 5 things are for your team. I just know that if you establish what they are and you do them consistently, consistent actions get consistent results. And results follow focus. So when you're focused on the right tree with the right 5 things, eventually alignment's going to happen with the team. Now, personally, you say, well, what are my 5 things? I don't know because it depends on your tree. It depends on your target. But if you don't use the right tool, maybe you need some coaching. Maybe you need some accountability. Maybe you need some inspiration, but all of us need execution. Hence the reason we're looking for 5 things that we can execute on every day. And that might be reading. It might be an hour of YouTube every day to learn something. It might be a class or a certification you need to take. It might be a book that you need to be reading. It might be a book that you need to be writing. But the bottom line is you need to establish what those 5 things are. Using the right tool is crucial. Just the point is this: a baseball bat's not going to cut it. A hammer to a tree, eventually that tree might fall down. It's just going to take a whole lot longer than if you just grabbed the axe and sharpened the axe. So number three, I'm sorry, T is for target the tree, R is for right tool, E is for effort. Leadership is active, not passive. You've got to swing. And that might mean holding the meeting, giving the feedback, invest in your people. You've got to figure out what it is that equals execution. I have for the longest time run my schedule. I have a calendar I work for with work and personal life. And a lot of times I will go from meeting to meeting, and that's my calendar. Like I go from different Zoom calls and other meetings I'm in, and some are larger groups and some are smaller groups and some are one-on-one type things. And I recently came to this conversation in my head where like I got tired of going meeting to meeting because I wasn't getting anything done. They were great meetings, we'd accomplished a lot. They were ideation meetings and accountability meetings. But what I found is I need to go from execution to execution. I need to figure out what it is that I need to do to accomplish something. So at work, you need to figure out what your 5 things are. Personally, you also need to figure out what are the 5 things, and all of them involve some version of execution. What did I learn? What did I do with what I learned? Who did I teach that I learned? Hey, where can I apply what I learned? Why did I learn that? If I'm learning something, by the way, if I'm going to write, I need to have clarity on where I'm writing. Clarity with consistency is gold. Clarity with consistency gets you there, right? So effort is crucial. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. Zig Ziglar says this. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. If you're going to be good at anything, you got to go start and be bad at something. You got to be not afraid to just kind of just savor in the suck, if you would. Now, all of that to say, effort to be busy is not enough. That's why we need to know the tree, the tool, the effort, and then the everyday. That's the other E, is every day. Consistency compounds. Your team trusts what you repeat. So get this, your team trusts what you repeat, not what you announce once. So what you're clear about, what you're consistent in, what you say every single day will be picked up by your team. They'll start quoting you. If you say it every day and you put it in the chats every day and you communicate it every day, eventually they're going to pick up what you're putting down. So understand this. John Maxwell says this often: consistency compounds. You need to figure out what it is that you're going to do consistently in your leadership. You need to figure out what's going to be consistent in your life, and that's going to equal your success. And by the way, you can do this with your team. Have them figure out what's their primary goal, what's their primary mission, not just for the needs of your company and what you're doing, but what's their goal in their own personal life, where you can help them clarify what is their tree, what is their tool, what is their 5 swings, and they can be successful as well. So here's the comment. So I want you to talk about to understand this. When you start taking the 5 swings, nothing happens at first. With a big tree, if you've ever cut down a tree with an axe, you keep on swinging and swinging, and 5 times a day you can swing it. And eventually what's going to happen is you're not going to see anything. It's going to take a week or 2 before you see anything. But maybe in about 3 or 4 weeks, you start to see the mark. You start to see the difference. You start to see that you're making some movement around this tree. And then eventually the tree falls. And there's huge momentum. When a tree falls, it's pretty cool. And by the way, when a tree falls in the woods, there's a lot of noise. It makes a crash, right? All the branches and sticks going. By the way, if you don't like me cutting down trees, I'm sorry. I kind of grew up cutting down trees, right? You watch momentum as a team, culture shift, performance, breakthrough. A lot of times we see this really cool big movements. You're like, wow, that's an overnight success that took a couple of years. It took several months, whatever it is. So people only see the results of leadership. They rarely see the 5 swings a day that built it. So when you're developing your team and you're pouring into them and you're doing one-on-ones and you're doing coaching sessions and you're leading them and you're investing in them and you're going over the leadership books and you're pouring into your team, people oftentimes don't see that, but eventually they see this beautiful team that's working together in a really dynamic culture, and they're like, wow, what a cool team that just showed up. That team didn't just show up. You've been taking 5 swings a day with that team, showing them, leading them. So well, oftentimes we watch the tree fall and we're very excited to see the momentum, but most of us didn't realize that it took 5 swings a day for a long time for that momentum to be in place. So what I want to encourage you is find your tree, find your tool, and find your 5 things, because here's the deal here. What's your tree? What's your tree? Your tree might be building team trust. It might be developing one person, or maybe it might be developing a bench. By the way, if you didn't know this, your whole team is your bench. Not that they're the bench that's going to be your key people, but they're all on your bench. Invest in all of them, because you don't get to decide who's the one who's going to make it or not. A lot of times you'll be shocked to find that it's the consistent one, the ones that stay in the pocket the longest, that end up being your most valuable players, your MVPs who play on the court. But at one time, they were just somebody who was on the bench. It might be creating consistent team rhythms. What are you going to do consistently? What's the consistent schedule that you're going to keep as a leader that the team can rely on and solid ground? Because this happens every single week. These reports go out every single day, or weekly or monthly, whatever it is, right? Ask what 5 swings a day will eventually get there. If you can establish what your tree is and you can establish what your tool is, then you can establish how to take those 5 swings. You're going to accomplish your goals as a leader. You're going to accomplish your goals as a person. You're going to help your team accomplish their goals as a person, which means you're adding value to them, and they'll be able to add value to the mission and to each other. So, by the way, team trust might be check-ins. Your swing might be check-ins, might be listen actively, recognize effort, clarify expectations, and follow through. That might be your 5 things, right? Personal growth might be I read, I practice, I reflect, I ask questions, I apply. I figure out how to execute it, right? So when you're looking at this, when I establish what my tree is, what my 5 things are, be very, very clear. And what am I going to do consistently? And then what it's not. You talk about the 5 things. It's not swinging at every tree. It's crucial that you clarify which tree you're swinging at so you can swing at the right tree. It's not using the wrong tool. A baseball bat isn't going to do it. So you're like, what are you talking about? Hey, if I'm going to dictate versus empower, I need to be very mindful that one is not the same. I need to maybe use coaching and influence versus directives and consequences. It doesn't mean there's not consequences and accountability, but understand the right tool and teamwork matters. And number 3, it's not showing up inconsistently. If it's the rule of 5 daily and you turn it into the rule of 5 weekly, it's going to take a long, long time for that tree to come down, if ever, because 5 swings a week might not cut it. 5 swings a month, not going to happen. 5 swings a day, it's going to make it happen. So here's the concept here. By the way, no one has ever quit on the way to the top. You don't get to the top on accident. You don't find yourself at the top of the mountain and be like, oh, I wonder how I got here. No, no, no. It was very intentional how you got there. It wasn't an accident. When you have that tree fall, it did not fall because a storm blew it over. Luck might be on your favor, but let me tell you, your tree's not going to fall without you chopping it down. Here's the question. Here, what's your tree? What's your tool? And what's your 5 things? 5 swings. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So I want to make sure we lean into this. Hey, what's your tree? What's your tool? What's your 5 things? If you can establish, if you can answer those 3 questions, you're on your way to accomplishing some of your biggest goals in your life, whether it be in leadership goals, or your personal goals. This is the way to go. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time around.